Yes, folks, it's John G. Sutton here, Tales from the Jails. And today I've got a special request from one of the gentlemen or people who put comments on my little site here, my YouTube channel here. It's from a guy called Robert Ellis, who wants me to talk about prison staff having nervous breakdowns, which, I mean, as I mentioned, people work long hours. I mean, they have working in disgraceful, disgusting conditions, and their representation is by their own managers. So you can imagine how much representation you've got there, like sweet Fanny Adams, sweet bugger all. That's the representation that you've got. And if you don't believe me, folks, don't believe me, all those people who say, oh, the POA are doing a great job, yeah? Have a look round, go into any local prison, preferably go and have a look at ones like Pentonville, Wandsworth, Wormwood Scrubs, Strangeways, Armley Jail, Walton Jail. Get in there, Durham Jail, have a look, yeah? These are built nearly 200 years ago. They're infested with rats, mice, cockroaches, all sorts of filth. The cells are absolutely disgusting and, in effect, unsuitable for use by human beings. If you kept dogs in those places, the Royal Society for the Protection of Animals, the RSPCA, would prosecute you for cruelty. If you look back at the documentary screened by the BBC, it was screened in 1980, filmed in 79, you'll see there's a scene in that in which I'm giving a talk to the staff of Strangeways, the basic grade staff at Strangeways, and saying that the prison is an absolute disgrace, and no real trade union would allow its members to work in such filth and degradation. And that, as I said, I pointed it out. You'll hear it if you look at that, the BBC documentary, Strangeways, episode 3, titled Screws. Go through there, you'll see me discussing that at a meeting we held in the middle of Manchester to form the Prison Force Federation, which was to be a real trade union representing the basic grade prison officers, who consist of 60% of the prison staff. They're the ones that do the walking round the landings with the keys and the chain and the hats and the sticks, and they're the ones at the sharp end. Not the management, yeah, but it's the management that were running the unions. Very likely still are. In actual fact, I would liken the Prison Officers Association, as it was formed, as it was in 1970s and 1980s, very much like the Mickey Mouse Club. You know, where you all sit round singing from a song sheet. Yeah, that's what it was. It was about as much as a trade union as the Mickey Mouse Club, anyway. So, as I said, Robert Ellis has asked me to talk about prison staff having and inmates having nervous breakdowns, which wasn't an uncommon thing. I mean, staff did crack. I recall one officer, I think he got about 20 years in. I won't name his name. He was a big tall fella, quite slim but big tall fella, about 6'3", something like that. He completely lost it one day, threw his hat, pulled his jacket over his head and climbed under a desk, and they had to get him out, had to lift him out, take him away, and he was taken to Prestwich psychiatric unit and cared for there for a number of weeks, and he was subsequently medically retired from the prison service. Myself, I wouldn't say it was a complete nervous breakdown, but I certainly couldn't face it anymore. I'd been physically attacked a number of times by prison officers, senior prison officers as well, and eventually I was attacked by one senior prison officer who grabbed hold of the back of my jacket and tried to drag me backwards down a set of stairs. And I was starting to go backwards down the set of stairs because he had hold of me, and I spun round and delivered sharp left hook right onto his snot box, which propelled him very rapidly down the stairs, leaving me behind. So as he picked himself up off the bottom of the stairs, he ran off to the chief officer and reported this, that I'd assaulted him. I'd defended myself from potentially being seriously harmed. Anyway, what happened then was they suspended me, and I'd been assaulted numerous times by various members of staff, and I went home and told my wife what had happened. She said, "You're not going back there. You ain't going back there. Go and see the doctor." So I went to see the doctor, told the doctor what had happened, and the doctor said, "I don't think you can go back there, Mr. Sutton." So I was off sick, and the Home Office referred me to a psychiatrist that they had appointed, and he diagnosed that I was perfectly sane, but the prison system was completely insane, and that I was psychologically unsuitable to work in those conditions. So maybe I did have a nervous breakdown, who knows? I certainly couldn't work in those conditions again. I had tried to ameliorate them. I tried to improve the conditions. I told the staff that you can't work like that. Might have been alright 200 years ago, but I mean the filth and dirt and degradation. And don't forget, what Strangeways was built to hold was approximately 900 inmates. What it was holding when I was there, so sometimes it was over 2,000 inmates. The cells were designed for one person. They had 3 people in there. There was no sanitation, no toilets, no running water in there. They were just locked into a bare cell with 3 beds and a couple of plastic buckets to use for the toilets. Dead disgraceful. And it wasn't just the inmates that were suffering this degradation and disgusting conditions, it was the staff. We were there in amongst it, and it was sanctioned by the POA, because they wouldn't listen. You went to see them and said, "Listen, these conditions have got to be, we've got to do something about it. It's filth, dirt, degradation, filth, can't." No, nothing. Anyway, I can read about it in my book. I keep plugging the book, but it's my duty, seeing as I wrote it. Oh, what I mentioned about this book. Seriously, somebody left me a review on Amazon. They said this is a work of utter fiction. Believe me, people have checked out what I say in the book. Checked it out. It's in the papers. It's in the court records. I mean, I was taken to Crown Court, taken to Magistrates Court. I was in all the papers. Prison officer charged with assault occasioning actual bodily harm. Yeah, I've been there and done it. You only have to a brief cursory inspection of what I write about in the book. All the inmates that are listed in the book, they were there, easily checked out. All the staff, I mean, alright, I only give their names and initials, but they were there. The book is absolutely the truth, and the people who are saying that this is a work of fiction, the reason that they're saying that they don't believe it is because they're reading the book from their perspective, and the only real way to avoid criticism like that is to do nothing at all. That's the only way to avoid it. But what I write about in this book actually happened. It was a harrowing, horrible experience, and it's in my book. And the people who say that it's pure fiction, come and see me. Come and see me. If you don't think I can do the job, come and have a look. John G. Sutton. You don't have to search too hard. I'm where I am. Anyway, I don't like that. Telling me I'm a liar. Don't tell me to my face. Anyway, yeah, so Robert Ellis talking about breakdowns. Shortly after I was medically discharged from the prison system, there was another member of staff who kept going off sick, and he had little niggles. He was nothing serious. He hadn't no making any waves or anything like that. He just lazy bastard basically. And he got called in to see Norman Brown, the governor. And Norman Brown says to him, "Why are you having all this sick off?" Oh, he said, "I can't take it anymore." He said, I need to be medically discharged, the same as you did for Mr. Sutton. I want exactly the same." He said, "Do you?" He said, "Just go and sit outside my office, get a chair outside my office, and I'll see you in 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, he called him back into the office. He said, "Hey, it's P45. He said, "You're sacked. Now get out." And that was the end of that. The guy had done about 15 years in the prison service, and Norman Brown sacked him on the spot. So to give Norman Brown his due, I mean, he didn't sack me, and to be honest, he certainly could have done. But I wasn't doing anybody any harm. I was trying to improve the system, the way it worked in the prisons. So I suspect that Norman really knew that I wasn't an agent of Colonel Gaddafi or anything like that. As for inmates having breakdowns, numerous times. Yeah, I mean, obviously, prisoners come in and they're addicted to drugs or alcohol or whatever. One particular prisoner came into Strangeways, and I got a phone call from my brother. He said, "Would you go and have a look at this guy? He's just been admitted." He said, "He's a really nice fellow, but he's lost the plot. He runs a pub. He was he was a manager of a pub, or a landlord of a pub." He said, "Would you go and tell him that Martin Sutton, that's my brother, he sends his regards and wants to make sure he's all right?" I said, "I'll go and see him." So I went to see this guy. He was on B wing, or B4, I think it was, somewhere like that. And I opened his cell and I said, "How do you do?" I said, "You know somebody called Inspector Sutton of the CID in Manchester Police?" He said, "He's my mate, Martin." He said, "Yeah, absolutely, he's fine." He said, "Come in." He said, "We'll have a drink." The guy believed he was still at the bar in his pub. He couldn't get it into his head that he was locked in a cell at Strangeways, completely gone. I didn't say I can't drink when I'm on duty, I said, "But it's very nice of you to ask me, I said, "I will tell Martin that you're okay now." And listen, I told him, I said, "If you need anything, if things are going wrong, you just ask to see me." I said, "And I will appear, and I'll come and help." I said, "But generally speaking, if you keep your head down, and if you need help with the medication and all that, which you obviously need, yeah, come and see me in the hospital, because I'm a hospital officer, you see, and I will make sure that you see the doctor." And I left him to it. But honestly, he did believe that he was still running a pub in Manchester, when he wasn't. He was running a bed in Strangeways. Sad. Numerous inmates come in and they're suffering breakdowns because they've been hooked on drugs or whatever, and they really don't know where they are. Yeah, they really don't know where they are. I dealt with two supposedly IRA inmates in London. They were all over the papers. IRA cell captured in Brighton. They got a hit list. Yeah, they got a hit list, all right. It said things like on it like the Queen, Buckingham Palace, the Prime Minister, Downing Street. That's what their list said, things like that. And they were armed with a 1930s ex-army pistol that was rusty. They couldn't have. They didn't even know where they were. They were in Wormwood Scrubs, in a cell within a cell within a cell. It was the ultra high security unit, because the police had told everybody these were IRA terrorists. These two, they were only a danger to themselves, and that would be because they were falling over drunk. They didn't even know the words to Danny Boy. I recount all this, it's in my book anyway, and these are facts, this has actually happened. Anyway, you couldn't do anything for them other than sober them up, but they didn't know where they were. Another inmate that was seriously, profoundly, emotionally distraught was a great big 17, 18 stone gypsy. who was in strange ways. He was in the hospital ward. He was seriously diabetic, and as I said, I was a hospital officer at the time of this, and he got a letter through from his family to say that his daughter had been killed in an accident on a campsite where he had his caravan. He was a proper gypsy, you know, but he was in prison for he was a doorman. He used to do the doors in Stockport and Manchester on the pubs, not the clubs, the pubs, you know, where they had a rough pubs, yeah. And somebody had crossed his path. He got angry and bitten their ears off. Dangerous man. Anyway, I think he got about 6 years for that, grievous bodily harm. Anyway, so I got this letter through, and he couldn't read, so I had to read him this letter, and it said about his daughter being killed on site. Well, I mean, he was absolutely distraught. I mean, this is a great big violent man who doesn't like to show any kind of emotion at all. It's weakness, you see. But I could see that he was deeply distressed. So I went to the records office and got his records out. From everybody had a record file, you see. And I found the name of his solicitor, and I phoned his solicitor up from the records office and told him who I was. I said, this man needs to go to the funeral of his daughter. I said, no, I can't give authority for that. I'm just a hospital officer. I said, but I'll give you the number to ring. You ring the prison and ask to speak to the governor. His name's Norman Brown. Tell him that you've had contact from me and that this inmate, your client, yeah, needs to attend the funeral of his daughter, and suggest to Norman Brown that he gets compassionate leave from prison. I said, he'll be perfectly all right. I said, he's a violent man, but he isn't going to do that. It's only when he's provoked, and he needs to be with his family. Believe it or not, the solicitor said to me, I just can't believe this. A prison officer's going to ring me up and tell me this. I said, listen, this is it. This is who I am, you know. I'm just trying to help this guy. So anyway, he did ring up, and believe it or not, this gypsy got 5 days compassionate leave from prison, and he went out home and he attended the funeral of his daughter, and he came back, and he was back in the hospital wing, and he gave me some very strange looks. I'll tell you something though, he never said thank you, John, or thank you, Mr. Sutton, or anything like that. Just gave me some very strange looks, because they don't speak to the bogies or whatever they call them, you know. But anyway, so yeah, people do happen to get distraught and distressed in prison, and it's up to the staff, if they are reasonably sensitive and doing their job, to pay attention to this. Now, I've had another request here, on requests at the moment, isn't it? Yes, folks. This is from a guy called Scott Bartram, who wants me to, he said, would you please terminate the existence of this song for me? He said it's Dire Straits at Walk of Life. So, Scott Bartram, if you're listening out there, this is Family Favourites with Psychic John G. I'm going to curtail this one, and I'm not too sure about this song, but here we go. Are you all sitting comfortably, Larry? I was going to sing a song for Paula, weren't I? Here we are. This is a Harry Lauder song just coming to my head, yeah? Because I know that you're north of the border, and I see that my prediction about Nicola Stungun has come true. The longest resignation letter in history. She resigned yesterday. Not surprising, really. I mean, that would be a very stressful position, and I think that she was an absolutely sincere in her belief about Scottish independence, and you know, good for her that she's got some convictions and she stood up for it. I personally believe that Scotland should be part of the United Kingdom myself, but then again, I'm not Scottish. So how can I really say? You know, whatever they decide to do, It's a wonderful place. I love Scotland. And I'm going to sing a little song now. This is a Harry Lauder song. It's only a little bit because I don't know all of it. But I used to have this on a 78 when I was about 8 years old. It wasn't mine, it was my dad's. Harry Lauder singing Stop Your Tickling Jock. Are you ready? Hey, get your tickling stick out, Paula. Larry, you can get your Billy Goat Gruff, tickle under the chinny chin chin. Well, you stop your tickling jock. Well, you stop your tickling jock. Man, I'm gonna stop. Will you stop your tickling, tickling, stop your tickling jock. Anyway, there you go. So I didn't know all the words, but it's a little effort, weren't it? I tried, you know. Here we go. This is me emasculating the song by Dire Straits. It's sorry, I banged the thing there. It's the Walk of Life. Somebody said, yeah, it was Scott Bartram that said he thinks this would suit my voice. Yeah. Will it? Well, we're about to find out, aren't we, folks? Here comes Johnny, singing oldies goldies. Bebop-a-lula, baby, what I say. Here comes Johnny singing, I got a woman down in the tunnels trying to make it pay. He got the action, he got the motion. Oh yeah, the boy can play. Dedication, devotion, turning all the night time into day. You do the song about the sweet loving woman. You do the song about the knife. Then you do the walk. You do the walk of life. Yeah, you do the walk of life. Here comes Johnny gonna tell you the story. Hand me down my walking shoes. Here comes Johnny with the power and the glory. Backbeat, the talking blues. He got the action, he got the motion. Oh yeah, the boy can play. Dedication, devotion, turning all the night time into day. You do the song about the sweet loving woman. You do the song about the knife. You do the walk. You do the walk of life. Yeah, the walk of life. Here come Johnny singing oldies, goldies. Bebop-a-lula, baby, what I say. Here comes Johnny singing, I got a woman down in the tunnels trying to make it pay. He got the action, he got the motion. Oh yeah, the boy can play. The dedication and devotion, turning all the night time into day. And after all the violence and double talk, there's just a song in all the trouble and strife. Then you do the walk. Yeah, you do the walk of life. You do the walk of life. Anybody who's still around now, I will be seeing you on the sick parade tomorrow morning. Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Did you like that, Scott Bartram? Or have you just thrown yourself into the canal?